Get that monster out of my lake. That's what Karen, my HOA neighbor, screamed at me across the water as she called 911 on my golden retriever for swimming in my own backyard lake. You think I'm kidding? She really called the cops on my dog for taking a dip. But if you think that's where the madness ends, you're not ready for what happened next. The very next morning, I found weird property markers staked all around my lake. Markers I swear weren't there yesterday. That's when it finally hit me. This wasn't just about a grumpy neighbor. Karen was running something much bigger, and 3 other families had already learned the hard way what I was about to find out. Let me back up a second and show you how I ended up trapped in this circus. I'm a software developer, always worked from home, and I'd saved every extra penny for 5 years to buy this house, mainly because of that lake. It's not massive, maybe 50 feet across, but it's perfect for Buster, my rescue golden who's got hip problems. Swimming's his physical therapy, and watching him glide through the water is one of those small joys that make all those late nights debugging worth it. When I finally closed on the house, keys in hand, I felt like I'd earned my slice of the American dream. Then there was Karen, the next-door neighbor, late 50s, recently widowed, ex-bank manager, always in charge of something. Her house is a little cheaper than the rest, and I learned later that's because of lake access issues. She's obsessed with property values, always worried about her investment. Maybe I should have picked up on the warning signs, but honestly, I just thought she was one of those HOA types who care more about lawns than people. The day of the 911 call, it was a regular Tuesday in late spring. I was out on my deck, laptop open, fighting a nasty coding bug for work, while Buster was living his best life in the lake. The sun was shining, birds were going wild. I was almost content, you know? Out of nowhere, Karen comes charging across the yard, face red like a pressure cooker ready to blow. "Your dog is contaminating my water access," she yelled, pointing at Buster like he was Chernobyl on 4 legs. I glanced over, and Buster was just floating, doing his goofy backstroke, looking like he'd never heard a harsh word in his life. I tried to stay calm, showed her my property survey, even offered to walk her through the papers. She cut me off. "I don't care what your fake papers say. That lake's been my family's property since 1987. The way she said it, so sure, so angry, it actually made me second-guess for a second. But before I could even process that, she whipped out her phone and dialed 911, right there on the lawn. "There's a vicious dog attacking my lakefront property," she declared, laying it on thick like it was an episode of Law and Order. The dispatcher wanted to know if anyone was hurt. Karen, pure Oscar performance, goes, "The animal's destroying my shoreline. The owner's aggressive and threatening." I just sat there, 20 feet away, phone out, recording, because who would ever believe this story without proof? 20 minutes later, 2 police officers roll up, looking about as thrilled as you'd expect. The first one, Martinez, asks what's going on. Karen launches into her drama, aggressive animal, trespassing, blah blah blah. When she finally ran out of steam, I handed the officers every piece of paperwork I owned: deed, survey, tax records, insurance, you name it. Officer Martinez cross-referenced everything, turned to his partner, and just shook his head. "Sir, this lake is clearly your property." Then he turned to Karen, much less patient. "Ma'am, calling 911 over a dispute you're wrong about is abuse of emergency services." Karen's face went from smug to panic in a heartbeat. She muttered about her rights, stormed back to her house, leaving me standing with 2 tired cops who had seen it all. After they left, some neighbors came out to apologize for the drama. Others whispered that Karen had been poking around about property lines for months. Meanwhile, Buster just kept swimming, completely unbothered, which honestly felt like the only sane reaction. I tried to get back to work, thinking, well, that's over. She's embarrassed herself in front of the police. The neighbors saw it, surely that's the end. Yeah, right. That night, I was grinding away on a work deadline when I heard hammering outside. I checked my security cam. Good thing I'd installed those after some package thefts, and there's Karen, in the dark, with a flashlight and a hammer, planting stakes around my lake, measuring, marking spots, all slow and careful like this was some kind of mission. She wasn't having a meltdown. She was following a plan. Next morning, Buster wakes me up barking. I step outside, coffee in hand, and there are 6 wooden stakes around the lake, each carved with official-looking nonsense: Shoreline Excess Martinez Property, EST 1987. Plus, shiny metal signs reading private waterfront, no trespassing in angry red letters. These weren't cheap. Somebody put real money and time into making them look legit. First thing I do is call the city planning office. They check every record since the neighborhood was built. No Martinez property rights. Never was, never will be. I checked my own documents, same story. Still, I spent an hour going over the security footage, and the more I watched Karen's midnight landscaping, the more it scared me. She was careful, methodical, using a tape measure, a level, even cleaning the markers. This was no random act. She'd done this before. I started Googling Karen Martinez property dispute. Turns out, she's basically famous in the local news for helping resolve property disputes, always as some concerned neighbor. The Johnson family, young military couple, lost their house after Karen's help with a boundary issue. Sold their place at a loss to Martinez Property Holdings LLC. The Williams, elderly couple, same thing. Karen showed up with historic documents. Next thing they're forced to sell. Buyer? Martinez Property Holdings. The Rodriguez family, a single mom teacher, had her backyard shed ruled illegal based on Karen's city reports, had to sell to avoid fines. Buyer? You guessed it. The more I read, the sicker I got. Suddenly, it all clicked. Karen wasn't just a nosy neighbor. She was running a scam, targeting vulnerable families, using fake disputes and official-looking documents, pushing them into selling fast and cheap to her family's company. Then they'd flip the homes for full price. 3 families, 3 neighborhoods, same story. And now it was my turn. Once Karen realized I was digging into her past, she went nuclear. She filed daily complaints to the HOA about Buster. She called animal control. Reported me to the city for an unpermitted dock I don't even have. Spread rumors to the neighbors that I was a lawsuit-happy troublemaker. I was getting the full social sabotage treatment, just like her previous victims. Next came the fake legal letters, official-looking, threatening a lawsuit, demanding $15,000 to settle the boundary issue. Then things got dark. I found rat poison by the lake, right where Buster drinks. Called the vet. He was sick but survived. I caught Karen on video tossing treats over the fence. I started to feel like I was losing my mind. Should I call the cops? Lawyer up? Sell the house? Cut my losses? That's what she wanted. But this time, Karen picked the wrong guy. I decided to flip her own script, pretend to be defeated, let her think she was winning, and catch her bragging about it. I posted on the neighborhood app about maybe selling due to stress and legal trouble, played it up whenever she was watching, acted overwhelmed. Within days, Karen made her move, called me up with her expertise, offered to connect me with a buyer, her family, of course, explained the process, even name-dropped her past clients. I recorded everything. I set up a neighborhood meeting about my decision to sell, played the audio recording, then ran through all the evidence, videos, documents, bank records, testimonials from Karen's former victims. The turning point? When Mrs. Rodriguez appeared on screen, tears in her eyes, telling everyone what Karen did to her family. The whole neighborhood saw the pattern, saw the receipts. Karen panicked, tried to grab my phone, slipped, and fell into the lake, screaming as Buster paddled over to retrieve my phone, tail wagging like he'd just won the lottery. Police were called, this time for real. Officer Martinez took my evidence. Witnesses spoke up. Karen got arrested for fraud, forgery, and animal cruelty. Local news picked up the story. Karen's mugshot, soaked and furious, was everywhere. Martinez Property Holdings was investigated, forced to return profits, and all fake claims against me dropped. The HOA apologized, neighbors rallied, and Buster, my hero, got a whole lake party in his honor. 6 months later, Karen's house is gone, her victims are getting their lives back, and our neighborhood is closer than ever. And me? I'm still here, still working, Buster still swimming, our lake more peaceful than ever. If you take away anything from this, it's that bullies and scammers thrive on fear and silence. But when you stand up, document everything, and lean on your community, justice finds a way. So tell me, what's the craziest neighbor story you've seen? Drop it in the comments, hit like if you love justice served, and let's keep our communities safe, one exposed scam at a time.